Bill and Hillary Clinton are probably one of the most prominent power couples in America, but their rise has not been without controversy, and this includes plenty of deaths and murders that are somewhat linked to them. Did they kill their way to the top? You be the judge. Number 10. Linda Thompson, 2009. Linda Thompson was an attorney from Indiana who strongly opposed Bill Clinton's presidency when he first came into office. In 1993, she compiled a long list of people all somehow connected to Clinton who had died under unnatural circumstances. In 1994, former Republican William Dennemeyer addressed a letter to Congress leaders citing 24 deaths related to President Clinton, most taken from the list compiled by Linda, and called for hearings on Clinton. Linda's list is the first known version of the Clinton body count, which she then left to be shaped and distributed freely by anyone who believed in it. This makes it a form of crowd-researched criminal investigation, which has since grown into having over 50 names listed. Some political opponents and right-wing propagandists have used it in their campaigns against the Clintons. Linda Thompson died in 2009 at the age of 56 due to medication overdose, prompting some theorists to add her name in the death list that she herself had started. Number 9. Vince Foster, 1993. Just a few months after Linda Thompson compiled her body count list in 1993, it would receive a new entry, one that is probably the most well-known and compelling yet. Vincent Walker Foster was a deputy White House counsel for President Bill Clinton's administration. He was also an old friend and colleague of First Lady Hillary Clinton, and had connections to the Travelgate and Whitewater scandals. Loyal to the Clintons, he had supposedly helped cover up their shady real estate deals, unpaid taxes, and controversial staff sackings made before Bill's presidency, and helped him survive some of his worst scandals during his first term. On July 20th, 1993, Vince was found dead in a federal park in Virginia with a gun in hand and a gunshot wound in the neck. He was 48 years old. A torn letter of resignation was found in his briefcase, and it was revealed that he had been struggling with clinical depression. Official reports from an autopsy determined that he was shot in the mouth. The case became the subject of much speculation, and 5 official investigations were subsequently made, with all of them reaching the same conclusion, ruling it as suicide. However, theories of a cover-up have persisted. Number 8. John F. Kennedy Jr., 1999. Many wonder how different American history would have been and what political roles John F. Kennedy Jr. would have assumed had he not followed his father's and uncle's footsteps in dying tragically at a young age. As the only surviving son of President John F. Kennedy, Kennedy Jr. grew up under the media spotlight, quickly achieving fame as a political celebrity, blessed with his late father's brains and good looks. In July 1999, Kennedy was declared a frontrunner for the New York Senate seat, putting him ahead of his rival, First Lady Hillary Clinton. But days later, Kennedy and his family would tragically die when their private plane crashed into the Atlantic Ocean. This resulted in Hillary Clinton being elected Senator of New York, the first real stepping stone which launched her political career. The circumstances surrounding the plane crash continue to raise questions of whether it was the result of foul play or simply a fulfillment of the Kennedy family curse. Number 7. James McDougal, 1998. James McDougal was a native of Arkansas who, together with his wife Susan, had been financial partners of the Clintons in their controversial Whitewater real estate ventures in the 80s. McDougal was convicted of fraud in 1984 and had Hillary Clinton's law firm defend him. McDougal, on his part, held a fundraiser that raised enough money to pay off Bill Clinton's campaign debts. In 1997, prosecutors were finally able to convict McDougal of multiple felony and conspiracy charges. On March 8, 1998, he suffered a cardiac arrest and died at the age of 57, while in solitary confinement in a federal prison in Texas. Prior to his untimely demise, he was already scheduled to provide a witness testimony to a case that the Clintons were involved in, which possibly would have led to their implication had he not died. Number 6. Gareth Williams, 2010. Gareth Williams' death in August 2010 seemed like something straight out of a James Bond movie. The Welsh man was a math genius who graduated with a first-class degree at a young age of 17, went on to earn a PhD, and subsequently got employed by the M16, working as a spy on both sides of the Atlantic. In August 2016, his decomposing body was found, naked, padlocked into a red North Face sports bag in the bathtub of a security service safe house in London. No fingerprints, palm prints, footprints, or even traces of Gareth's DNA were found at the scene. And surprisingly, the key to the padlock was found inside the bag, beneath his body. What is even more absurd is that the case was declared a suicide by Scotland Yard, leading to public uproar to an obvious attempt of a cover-up. What possible connection did Gareth have with the Clintons? The same month of his death, he had hacked into confidential data regarding Bill Clinton, purportedly to give to a friend who worked in the media. The move angered his bosses deeply, and God knows what information he had obtained in that breach. Number 5. John Ash, 2016. John Ash was the first in 5 Clinton-related deaths within 6 weeks in mid-2016, which will all be mentioned here. The former United Nations official died on June 22, 2016, while lifting weights. Initially, it was reported by the United Nations that he passed away from a heart attack, but then local police came out and said that he died from a crushed windpipe. They said a barbell fell onto his throat, an accident he did to himself while working out at the gym. Interestingly, the incident mirrored the plotline of an episode of the popular TV series Columbo in the 70s, where the murderers drop a barbell on a guy. Also, it just so happens that Ash was set to testify in a huge bribery scandal that would have led right back to the Clintons and the DNC. Apparently, Ash and a Chinese businessman named NG Lapsang were accused of smuggling $4.5 million into the United States and lying about what it was going to be for. Back in 1996, Singh was implicated but not charged for illegally funneling hundreds of thousands of dollars to Bill Clinton's campaign for his second term, all done through a restaurant in Arkansas. Turned out the Chinese businessman was favored with more than 10 visits to the White House, including an elevator ride with Hillary Clinton. The media dubbed it the China-Gate scandal. The trial might have been embarrassing for the Clintons had John Ash lived to testify. Number 4. Seth Rich, 2016. Seth Conrad Rich was a 27-year-old staffer of the Democratic National Committee. He had written some voter sign-up apps to help people find their voting precincts, and from what has been said about him, he may have had direct access to the entire nation's database of voters, and quite possibly have had first-hand knowledge of voter fraud. Seth was shot several times in the back at 4:19 in the morning on July 10, 2016, 2 weeks ahead of the Democratic National Committee. Some suggested it was a botched robbery, but neither his wallet, watch, or cell phone was taken, and his body was covered in bruises. Police admitted they had no idea what the motive for murder was, as if he was just randomly gunned down in the streets of Washington, D.C. Julian Assange, founder of WikiLeaks, strongly hinted in an interview that Seth could have been the staffer who leaked them the information surrounding the dump of 20,000 DNC emails, which proved the party was rigging the primaries to favor Hillary Clinton, and showed the corruption of its chairwoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz. A $25,000 reward has been offered for information on the murder. Number 3. Joe Montano, 2016. Following Seth Rich's death was that of Filipino-American political activist Joe Montano. He served as top aide to now vice presidential candidate Tim Kaine, and also served as the DNC chairman right before Debbie Wasserman Schultz took the role. Joe died from a heart attack on July 25, 2016, coincidentally the same day that the DNC convention started, and right after the WikiLeaks email dump came out, exposing the fact that the party worked to sabotage Bernie Sanders and hand the nomination to Hillary Clinton. Joe was 47, with no history of heart problems. Number 2. Victor Thorn, 2016. Victor Thorn was a very well-known Clinton researcher, an independent journalist who had been on the bad side of the Clintons for decades. He wrote for the American Free Press and exposed many dark secrets surrounding the couple, including their alleged body count, sex scandals, and the drugs running out of Mena, Arkansas. He had enjoyed considerable success with his writings and is well known for his Hillary and Bill trilogy and a more recent 4th book, Why Hillary Shouldn't Be in the White House. On August 1st, 2016, on his 54th birthday, Victor was found dead from a gunshot wound on a mountaintop near his home. Police called it a suicide, and there were no official press releases on his death at all. It's a mystery why he would even contemplate suicide at all, as he was enjoying the height of his success, and his book trilogy had just been purchased for translation and foreign distribution. A suicide during the height of Hillary's run for presidency makes even less sense, as he was having more chances than ever to write about the Clintons. Victor had once claimed on Russell Scott's talk radio show that he would never commit suicide, saying, "Russell, if I'm ever found dead, it was a murder. I would never kill myself." Number 1. Sean Lucas, 2016. The very next day following Victor Thorne's death, and the most recent entry to the Clinton body count is Sean Lucas, who mysteriously died on August 2nd, 2016 at the age of 38. Sean Lucas was known as a Bernie Sanders supporter who filmed himself at the DNC's headquarters in Washington, D.C. in July 2016, serving a lawsuit against the party and its then chairperson Debbie Wasserman Schultz for rigging the primaries in favor of Hillary Clinton. The video titled "You Got Served" went viral on YouTube. Apparently, a month after he helped serve the lawsuit, Sean's girlfriend found his body lying on the bathroom floor of his house. When paramedics arrived, they confirmed that he was already dead.